Congratulations.
Are you recording? Welcome to Apads Graduation Ceremony and Kitchen Stove Donning Ceremony. I now have this honor as President of Apads, Dr. Sherry Davis. Now we will be introduced by Dr. Keisha Robinson Smith, our welcome by Dr. Candy Williams, and our mission by Dr. Andre Crenshaw.
Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to come together to celebrate our graduation day. Lord, they've been on a journey of research and writing. Thank you for everyone that's gathered here online. Thank you for everyone that's gathered here in person. We ask that you bless this ceremony, that you just remind us of how far we've come and that the journey is only beginning. We ask that you bless this ceremony. We thank you for all of the members. We thank you for the board. We thank you for the women that have laid the foundation in this organization. We thank you for the legacy of those that have gone before us. And so now, Lord, we thank you for this graduation ceremony on this afternoon. And it's in Jesus' name that I pray that you continue to bless your people. You get the glory today out of this ceremony. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome associates, members, alumni, supporters of Apads, friends and family. Welcome. Today is a wonderful occasion where we get to celebrate our graduates. It's an awesome day. It's an awesome day that the Lord has made for us here today. All of the work, all of the hours, all of the time, all of the dedication, all of the sacrifice, and now you're here. You're graduating, you finally made it, you reached your goal. So today, Apads, we're going to celebrate you. We're going to celebrate this time. Enjoy this moment, for it's just the beginning of a new chapter. I'm not sure if Dr. Andre. So at this time, I'm going to go over our mission and our purpose for Apads. Apads is a support organization that fosters and provides mentoring support for Pan-African students and scholars. We are concerned both with ensuring the academic success of students pursuing a doctoral degree, supporting the professional development of Pan-African scholars, and educational research and program settings. Apads is an educational advocacy organization, and it has major purposes to support and foster academic achievement for students enrolled in accredited graduate institutions or related programs or professional services. be an educational advocate for persons of African descent who are either scholars or students in pursuit of higher education scholarship. To provide scholarships, a support network, scholarship, mutual aid, educational professionals who are engaged in teaching, research, and community development. To provide mentorship and professional development to help ensure personal academic success and African scholars. Thank you.
Good afternoon, graduates and guests, Apads members, associates, and friends. Those who have joined us this afternoon, whether online or here at the Council House. Here in this space, we are in the spiritual presence of great feminine ancestors, renowned leaders for social justice, education, the freedom of our people, here in the African diaspora. For example, to name and honor two of the most prominent of these giants, Mary McLeod Bethune, daughter of enslaved parents, born in 1875. She grew to become a leading American educator, humanitarian, womanist, and civil rights activist. She was a national advisor to President Franklin Roosevelt and a friend of Eleanor Roosevelt, his wife. In 1935,
she founded the National Council of Negro Women, offices we're meeting in today. Her mission was to improve the lives of Black women and their communities, and to demonstrate the importance of women in the struggle for freedom and democracy. I also want to honor Dorothy Height, president of NCNW from 1958 to 1990 during the civil rights movement this afternoon. She was one of the big six leaders, right along with Dr. Martin Luther King and all the others, but she was rarely recognized for her contribution. Often ignored in the press, she's a key organizer of financial support and volunteer support for the people on the front lines. And by the way, most of the leadership in the South were women as well. We only know the names mostly of the men, but most of the people who did all the work on the ground were women. She later was one of the chief organizers of the March on Washington. She also developed many volunteer programs in Asia, Africa, Europe, and South America, and led the successful effort to erect a memorial statue of Mrs. Bethune in Lincoln Park, Washington, D.C. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker this afternoon, and as you will see, she is a leader in the tradition of NCNW. Dr. Wendy Williams is the Senior Vice President and Provost of Fielding Graduate University. She completed her master's and doctoral studies in the fields of psychology and counseling. Over the last 2 decades, she has developed her expertise and practice, applying critical lenses of liberation psychology and womanist, Black, and
intersectional feminist frames. She is especially interested in the development and implementation of educational wellness and leadership interventions. Dr. Williams is a former dean of the School of Education at Mills College. She was also Associate Dean of Academic Affairs at Bank Street College of Education in New York. She has 2 books that are forthcoming: Black Women at Work on Refusal and Recovery, and The Majestic Place of Freedom Possible in Black Women's Leadership. She hosts a podcast on elevating Black women's leadership. It's called She Been Ready, the podcast. We're delighted to welcome into this space our keynote speaker, Dr. Wendy Williams. She, by the way, she would have liked to be here. She told me that she really wanted to be here. She was unable to, and so we're going to share a recording of her keynote address right now.
Williams. I am the Provost and Senior Vice President at Fielding Graduate University, and it is my unique honor and privilege to have been selected to provide the graduation remarks to the Association of Pan-African Doctoral Scholars this spring. The graduating class of 2023, we are incredibly proud of you and excited for you, and again, it's my pleasure to be here to honor you. The long walk to Black freedom and excellence is paved with the hope and prayers of what an education could or would provide. For our ancestors had no reason to believe their investments, just like their labor and toil across this globe, would result in the personal access and gain for themselves or us, their children. It was their commitment and love for us to sacrifice without knowing the outcome that laid the pathway for us to imagine otherwise than the paths that were not always easy, but are always our story. They are the hill we climb and the one we climb together. The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and that the norms and notions of what is, just is, isn't always just us. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time, where a skinny Black girl, descended from the slaves and raised by a single mother, can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promise to glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain, if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze pounded chest. We will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. And every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. These are the majestic words penned by poet Amanda Gorman on the occasion of the 2021 presidential inauguration. A poem that, because of the truths it tells, offended one Floridian mother and was consequently banned for all of the state's children. These words, relegated to redaction and disappearance, are so vital and necessary today. These words are apropos today, as you acknowledge the completion of an experience, not simply a degree program. You prepare for your inauguration, as you are also at the beginning or introduction of a system, policy, or period. You are commencing to do something great. And so here you are, hooded and acknowledged. Here in this moment among our beloved community, you are witnessed. We are the members and leaders of the Association of Pan-African Doctoral Scholars honor you. We sit among your family and friends, your loved ones, in awe of you and all that you will do to surprise even yourself by your own brilliance. And so we thank you for providing someone so beautiful to behold. You are an ancestral dream realized. Congratulations, class of 2023. We know that you are ready and able to acknowledge the light that is always there, and that you are brave enough to see it, and even more so, brave enough to be it. Congratulations.
Today, we're celebrating the major accomplishments of our Apads associates, achieving the completion of their doctorate degree in their chosen field by joining them with a campus stove. Camping, what and why is it so acclaimed? It comes from more than 40 years of African history. In particular, it comes from the Ashanti Nation, which today is done. Camping means basket in the Ashanti ladder, and is also referred to as woven cloth. Is that vibration? I'm right here, still waiting for Mayan, and today through Haiti. Originally, silk was across African caravan, only Europe could afford this extent of the silk. So, royal was seen when celebrating. You see, I don't know, it's served as regard morning festival, special events, and rites of the past in the diaspora and America. Most is woven possibly on together larger the design woven are the most is an array and color over original the designs were black and white. Now they exist in several symbolic colors. I'm going to mention a few in relation to your current and continued success. White relation. Your doctor overcome all the green. Now you need your mist and green. Start a new path. Our real red stands for strong feelings of anger and violence. And to narrow the symbolism here, you are no longer have to deal with the anger or frustrations resulting from inadequate information and assistance or misinterpretations by those assisting you. And just maybe your spiritual feelings help you through the maze. Blue symbolizes holiness, peace, harmony, love, and good fortune. You now have the peace that your dissertation is done. And who knows what fortuitous event or change comes. Black represents strong spiritual energy and spirits of the ancestors. And just the spiritual energy of family and friends and others with their encouragement enable you to endure to reach your pinnacle of success. And who's to say the ancestral spirits weren't close by with their whispers, helping you to pass on to your goal. Gold and yellow represents wealth and royalty. Your wealth is the expertise acquired as a result of your research. The expertise that only you can disperse to others or help you to acquire a higher position or salary. Other colors such as maroon, pink, gray, silver, and purple symbolize other aspects of life. However, limited time prevents me from making their interpretation. What you accomplish can make you feel like royalty. But Kinky Stone isn't only just isn't it any old piece of cloth. It represents your part of history. And just maybe a challenge for the future. As a gift from Apads, we hope you will treasure celebrating your achievement of acquiring the doctoral degree. we have Dr. Betty Bell come forward, please?
Little correction on the agenda. Dr. Betty Bell attended Liberty University. Liberty University.
Virginia. In Lynchburg, Virginia. Okay. It is my pleasure to join you with this consent. I'm real happy to do this. On that side. Because this is a symbol of our heritage from Africa. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful gift to give to you. When we have gone through and what our ancestors have gone through.
So much. And this is the certificate for
She said this is a certificate of the Kinship. Okay, for authentication. Okay. Okay. It's all close together, so we can reach. You should want to open something up with it.
her certificate. Did you want to hold it? And we do have other graduates, but they are not here, and so their Kente cloth will be mailed to them.
Give their names.
Okay, so we have Dr. Anthony Lyons and Dr. Hugh Shalom Rock.
Point of information, is it possible will they be here in September?
We don't know, because they're not in the state right now.
Oh, they're
Yeah. We have one more.
Did you want me to hold it?
Congratulations. Congratulations. Yes. So, Dr. Bell. Yes, she is. Back to the podium. Oh, okay. As a graduate, with education degree.
Yes, ma'am.
We would like you to tell us a little bit about what you plan to do with your degree. Okay, and tell us a little bit about your degree. Thank you. Certificate of appreciation presented by Association of Pan-African Doctoral Scholars.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Apads, and for your support and giving me this opportunity to work with me and speak about what has been going on with my life for 7 years. This certificate that I have received, the Doctors of Education and Leadership, it wasn't done by myself alone. I had support. And at my lowest peak, I called Apads. And Dr. Sherry, she was such a great support. Dr. Walker, she was great support, and all the others, just listening monthly to all the presentations and the outlines that we did not understand was thoroughly provided for the students. And so I just thank you so much. And so now, what had happened with me in the past, I had started out with a dissertation at Liberty University and trying to get my doctor's degree. I didn't do so well. I got all the way to chapter 4. And when I got to chapter 4, I was like, I don't know what to do. So I called the director of the education department at Liberty University. And he had just started a new program. Instead of doing your dissertation, is a doctoral capstone project. Now, you know, we are used to the capstone project in your master's, right? He came up with this idea and this theory that all the hard work we were doing, he can make it work with the capstone. The difference between the capstone and the dissertation is you have to get IRB approval with your dissertation. Where the capstone, you get approval through the organization you're doing your research about. So my research was at California State University, Dominguez Hills in Carson, California, and I think that's where the state came in at. Okay, and so I went on and I found out, he said, you have to find out a problem. What can you do to help improve that university? Which I did. My recommendations was to improve communication between the alumni relations at California State University, Dominguez Hills. What that means is the alumni were, because of social media, they were not getting adequate communication through all the programs with the alumni providing, because as we know, we're in a generation theory. We're in a generation where your silent generations, they're not used to social media. You know, your baby booming generation, they are barely getting into it, emails and all of that, but we're still used to your postcards and newsletters and magazines. So my project was to try to open the eyes of the university so they would be able to look at what has happened. And then COVID set in. Then there goes, whew, no in-person communication, right? So I started researching, I did my data collection. I actually had to do all 5 chapters, just as the dissertation. The capstone, all 5 chapters, you do the introduction. I'm going too fast, I think I'm too long.
Take your time.
We had to do the introduction, which you have to look at your purpose, your problem, the significance of the study. You also had to do the history. And so I'm like, okay, my theory, when I did all the literature reviews, it took me a year to do the literature. Normally it doesn't take that long, but my mentor sent me some suggestions, but she didn't say it was suggestions. She just said, you better do this. 10. Later on, I found out everybody did 3. So I did 10, but you know, I don't regret it at all. I learned so much about the generations. every year, every 20 years, there is a generation. You know, the silent generation was my parents. Then came the baby booming generations, 20 years. We had World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War is the baby booming generations. So there were some things happening every 20 years. And then we met up with the millennia, Generation X, then Generation Y, which is the millennia. Wow, social media. Everybody's got to be on the internet. Everybody got to be on the computers. Everybody's receiving emails from everywhere. When you get a complaint, you file an insurance. Everything's got to be sent on the computer, right? So that's where my study came in at. I wanted them to look at this problem, and my data collection and my data analysis went through the generational process and talked to, I had the semi-interview. That was the administrators. They thought they were still doing good. I didn't tell them like, So my focus group, I had to pull and do a lot of reaching out to people to find out alumni. What year did you graduate? What's your nationality? You know, demographics. And so I did. A great blessing was find out that Dr. Sherry graduated from California State University, Dominguez Hills, and she was part of my focus group. And we was able to strategize and find out from all the different 15 people that I interviewed. And it was not an interview, it was a session. Okay. But to find out what did they want to find out, what did they see the problem was, how we can improve communication with the alumni. So I sent the recommendations in as well. And so now after I submitted it all, I'm just at a waiting process. Even though I got my degree, that's all I needed to do was send them that, and then I'm cool with that. And so it's just a blessing that I was able to do that. And so now I'm gonna move real quick because I know Dr. Oscar said that, Crenshaw said I had 3 minutes. So what am I gonna do with this degree now that I have it? In the beginning, I had said I was going to volunteer to work for the City of Long Beach Education Department. And so be an educational member of the Long Beach City. Found out you can't just volunteer. It's official. You have to run for office. And so I was like, okay, do I have money for that? Not yet. Can I do that? Yeah. I can still go in and volunteer to help. And that's where I'm gonna go right now, you know, aiming to do that. Because I raised 6 kids in the Long Beach Unified School District. Wow. And I'm not the only one. My mother gave birth to 12. She actually was pregnant 17 times. And 1999, she was at Cal State Long Beach. She paid $5 for her tuition. Wow. And so, you know, she's raised a lot, and I'm raising a lot, and I just want to make sure our kids get adequate education and fair treatment through the school district, because focusing on our African-American boys, we have problems with them, true enough. So we want to make sure that they are treated right in the education field. And one of the last thing, I have a nephew that just got accepted as president of Sacramento State University, and he is 40 something. Oh, right. So he's the youngest. That is his focus.
And his name is?
Oh, his name is Luke Wood.
Dr. Luke.
Oh, Dr. Luke.
Yes.
Yeah, from San Diego.
Yes, yes, he's from San Diego, and he's starting this week, the 17th, at Sacramento. And his wife's name is Dr. Adar Wood.
Yes.
S-E-N.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Betty Bill, come forward, please.
a little correction on the agenda. Dr. Betty Bell attended Liberty University. Liberty University.
In Virginia. That's in Lynchburg, Virginia. Okay. It is my pleasure to join you with this consent. I'm real happy to do this. On that side. Because this is a symbol of our heritage from Africa. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful gift to give to you when we have gone through and what our ancestors have gone through.
So much. And this is the certificate for
This one? Yeah. She said this is a certificate of the Kente. Okay, for authentication. Okay. Okay. It's all close together, so we can get a picture.
You want to open something up with her certificate. And we do have other graduates, but they are not here, and so their Kente cloths will be mailed to them.
Give their names.
Okay, so we have Dr. Anthony Lyons and Dr. Hugh Shalom Rock.
Point of information, is it possible will they be here in September?
We don't know because they're not in the state right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have one more.
Did you want me to hold it?
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. Family, friends, associates, members, esteemed guests. I have been given the charge to present the scholarship. So besides providing Apads associates and members with assistance throughout their doctoral program, Apads also provides a scholarship. And anyone who's went through the doctoral or doctorate program knows it is an expensive task. And so Apads is able to provide a scholarship or scholarships to specific individuals. So at this time, I would like to read off Apads 2023 scholarship recipient. And this scholarship is being presented by the Association of Pan-African Doctoral Scholars to Dr. Andre Crenshaw. Crenshaw is not here with us in person, but he is online. So Dr. Crenshaw, we want to say congratulations, and your beautiful certificate will be sent to you, as well as your scholarship fund. You have something you want to say? I see you.
Thank you so much, Apads and the scholarship committee, and Dr. Sherry and Dr. Wana, and all of the Apads board members and Apads organization. I'm really appreciative of this year's scholarship. And I had only wished that all of my students would have also had submitted an application. Hopefully next year you will. It's something that is very important in terms of being able to fund your research and editing. But I am so appreciative. I am in process now of planning my final defense on June 21st at 10 o'clock a.m. And I'm raking through my document as we speak. So I'm elated and very happy to be a recipient of the 2023 APAS scholarship. Thank you very much.
Just one other thing, Dr. Crenshaw, he already possesses a EDD, but right now he is on the path to completing his PhD. So when he finishes, we'll call him Doctor. I got you.
Yeah, Dr. Dre to the second power.
To the second power. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Merle Walker. So when he finished, I just call him crazy. But it's my honor to just talk about the Scholars Walk briefly. And it was my pleasure, Dr. Betty, to help you. I didn't really have to do much. I just had to guide you in a different way, because some of the scholars, they just have a broad idea, and like myself, we have done all the work, and I just told her, wait a minute, just look at this. It was an easy fix. You're just looking at it wrong. And once I told her how to look at it, she got it. And then next thing you know, she called me, I'm graduating May. I said, wow. So that I was glad of that. But Doctor, I'm here to talk about the Scholars Walk. This is just to say that this is just the beginning, and you will have opportunities to speak, to do more research, to work with other scholars, to write journal articles, to write books. The world is yours. You will have speaking engagements, and sometimes you can create engagements for yourself, you know. So Dr. Crenshaw, we would like to know what your next steps are.
That's the $1 million question, Dr. Walker. I am going to go approach this organically. The Lord led me out to the desert 4 years ago, and I am going to connect with my community out here and be of service. Even though this is Southern California, it could just as well be West Texas or East Arkansas. And I say that from the standpoint that the need for education is so vital in terms of connection to the community. And there's some real issues out here, but also looking at it globally, I'd like to do some consulting. My dissertation is in and around African higher education and the shortage of faculty there. And I'm looking to possibly connect particularly HBCUs and other universities globally with African universities for adjunct professorships to go into and to help fill the gaps in higher education in Africa. I just returned back from Egypt and were able to meet with 2 universities in Cairo and in Aswan, Egypt. But my hopefully for my postdoctorate work in terms of writing, research, consulting, and connecting HBCUs with African universities virtually. And to take it day by day. No, I have to say, a couple of years ago, my daughter, when I was finishing my EDD, my daughter showed me an article where a gentleman out of Columbia, South Carolina, had gone to and was finishing his doctorate, and he attended a PWI because he got scholarships, but he always wanted to attend an HBCU. So he had retired and saw an opportunity to apply to Howard, was accepted, went through and completed the PhD at Howard, and it was all headline news, all in the newspaper there in South Carolina. A 70-year-old Black man receives his PhD. And so my daughter said, well, Dad, did you read the article? I said, yeah, I did. I said, that's nice. He said, yeah, that's going to be you. I said, oh, no. So I hurried up and finished my EDD before I turned 70. But now that I'm 70, I am finishing my PhD.
Thank you.
Our role is to talk about mentorship. As you can see, we have supported many associates along the way. And they have been successful in the past few years. So membership is very important. And even if you have your degree already, we expect you to come back and work with us. We want you to be on our Zoom or whatever we're going to be doing at the time and help those that are behind you, that are working to graduate. The information is excellent that we get from our doctors. And so it's $60 for membership. So those of you that are moving over from associate at $40, you're gonna have to pay us in the fall. $60. But you can go online to apadsorg.org. The information is there for regular members. Just fill out everything. Sometimes the questionnaire asks you a lot of things that you don't necessarily want to share or that you've forgotten about, like me. but please, for September or even the summertime, we have a little extra cash. Please join our agency, our association, because it is very valuable. And I think we have quite a few people here that have been through our system, and they can attest to the fact that it's very helpful. So we have some excellent people that work with our associates. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing your names on the roster next fall. The membership is for 1 year.
And now we are coming to the close of our program. But before I provide my closing remarks, I would like for the graduation committee to come and join me here. And we'd like to hear from our chair, Dr. Uche. They worked so hard to put this program together. And so I'd like for them to be acknowledged at this time because I'm so grateful for all the work that they have done. So at this time, would the graduation committee please come forward? So we have Dr. Juanita Coleman, who is the executive director
of Apads. We have Dr. Uche, who is our first vice president, and she's also the chair of the graduation committee. We have Dr. Ellen Griffin, who's our historian, so resourceful. She knows all the good stuff and where all of the information is held. And then we have our own Dr. Karen Robinette. She is our second vice president. She's also our membership chair. This is the graduation committee. And we just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you did to put this program together. Please come as the chair, please come and give us some remarks.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here today. And especially want to thank members of the team because they did most of the heavy lifting. This is my first graduation, live graduation. The only one I attended was a Zoom when I got my degree in 2021. So it was all new to me, but they were able to step in and provide support and feedback and move all of this forward. So I really do appreciate you ladies. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening.
For next year. Okay. So there are also some other people I would like to recognize at this time. I would want to recognize Dr. Merrill Walker. Dr. Walker, all the way from Pennsylvania. Our computer screen, and now we have her live in person.
Yes.
We just want to thank you for coming all this way, supporting Apads. That this means a lot to us. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.
She's always supportive, and she helps the associates, and she doesn't mince words.
Right.
She may be hard, but she's fair.
Right, yes.
And that's what we need, because the associates that go through the program, and when they're writing their dissertation, they need someone to tell them the truth. And so we appreciate all that you provide to Apads, and we want to thank you for journeying here today. I'm sorry that the sunshine is not out today. Our characteristic Los Angeles weather is uncharacteristic at this time. But we're glad to have you here. I also want to thank our President Emeritus, Dr. Evelyn Montoya Williams. Many of you know Dr. Williams as an early education educator, leader, and pioneer, because that is exactly what she is. She has been a strong supporter, a strong financial supporter of Apads for years. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Williams, because you are always there. You are always helpful. You always want to know what you can do. And we just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you have done for Apads, what you're continuing to do for Apads, and just being that leader that we need in our community and for this organization. Thank you. We also have our officers. We're always on the lookout to provide leadership opportunities to those who have already graduated, to come back, as Dr. Robinette said, to Apads, to give back and to move and to pay it forward for others. I want to acknowledge our communications liaison, Dr. Katisha Robinson Smith. And she can definitely tell you that the road after becoming a doctor can go in many paths, as we all know. I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing. I thought I would be teaching, but I'm doing something greater, which is Apads and teaching the next generation of doctors. And so I count that as a blessing for myself. But Dr. Tisha, I want to say thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
And then we have our treasurer, Dr. Candy Williams. If I have it correct, a leadership consultant. And she is out there paving the streets, and she's participating, and she really is exemplifying the Scholars Walk because she speaks. She is published, not once, but twice, 3 times, just 2 times, but that's 2 times that is hard earned because it's not easy to get published. So I want to acknowledge Dr. Candy Williams. Thank you, Dr. Williams, for all your work as treasurer. Then we have someone who I respect and admire, and whenever I call her, it's like, hey, how you doing? Or I'll text her, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are you in trouble doing? Dr. Blackwell, I want to acknowledge you because you've always been so supportive of ACAP. And we appreciate you because I know you know your stuff. She is doing many things. She's also doing the Scholars Walk because she actually mentors associates. She teaches at the community college level, and she's always ready to provide assistance when asked. She never complains, ever. She never says, I don't have time, or I don't want to do this. She just says, Dr. Davis, what do you need me to do? And so I appreciate that because sometimes I call at the midnight hour and I'll ask, and if I call you, it's because I know you can do it. But she never complains, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I want to acknowledge Dr. Juanita Coleman Merritt. She is our executive director. I call Dr. Merritt when I am not sure of how to proceed with a particular topic or situation. And I know I can get good, sound, sage advice from her. She is also a leader. She has worked with parents, and her dissertation dealt with parents, but she is an accomplished publisher herself. And she does many, many things. And she's also someone who gives to others. She refers information and resources to our associates. And so, Dr. Coleman Merritt, I want to say thank you so much for being the executive director. She is really good at getting good speakers too.
Yes, she is.
Oh my gosh, yes. And she knows a lot of people. She says she doesn't, but she knows. She knows a lot of people. I thank you for the support you've given to me personally as president and also to Apads. Thank you so much. Thank our speaker who provided such an inspiring message to us, not only as doctors, but as leaders and as women and as Black women. It's a tribe that is continuously growing, and it's our responsibility to help shepherd them to the next step. So I encourage all of you here today and all of you who are in our Zoom audience to find someone that you can mentor. Apads is a 40-plus-year-old organization. We have been around. We understand. We know. We have trod the hot coals. So when we speak and when we mentor and support our associates and our members, we're speaking from experience. This organization has been around, and it was founded by 3 fabulous doctors, and they saw and had the vision to bring this organization to the forefront because they saw a need. There is still a need. There is still a great need. And even though doctors represent only less than 1% of the population, for African Americans in the doctoral space, that's even less than 1%. So it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we pay it forward, to support them, to mentor them, to listen to them, because sometimes you just need to be listened to, you're frustrated, you're exhausted, you're tired, and you just need someone that understands where you're coming from. And that's Apads. It's a safe space for associates and members. So at that note, I just want to say, lastly, there are two important people here I must acknowledge. One is our technical director. We're here.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We made it work.
Yes, and if you wondered about our website, it has all these bells and whistles. She is responsible for it. I enjoy working with her because when we have our bi-monthly sessions, we talk for hours because we go on, and she teaches me, every time I talk to her, she teaches me something new about technology because we know it changes daily. And nobody ever bothers to get our input or permission, but she teaches me every time I talk to her. And she's just a wonderful, wonderful spirit with a sunny disposition, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I want to thank someone who just didn't even say anything when I asked her. She just grabbed it and just as a natural, just went ahead and did it. Our photographer on site. Look, thank you so much, sweetie. Thank you so much. She started getting on chairs. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. All right, with that, we are going to thank our Zoom audience. With that,
you, our graduate, for all of your hard work, effort, and for being with us here today. And here's to APADS. As I think, as you mentioned, Dr. Sherry, we are 40+ years, and here's to 40 more years of helping and supporting those who are working toward their doctorate degrees. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.